There are 5 members in group number 1. Margaret wrote the exploration section of the school-wide implementation plan. Jamie wrote the introduction and provided data collection sheets. Chelsea put together the PECS book used for the video and participated in making the video demonstrating the use of PECS as an intervention. Allie participated in the video demonstrating the use of PECS as an intervention and wrote the ABA guideline for PECS intervention. Corinne wrote the installation phase of the school-wide implementation plan. Each slide has the contributors' initials in the bottom right-hand corner. Introduction. The Picture Exchange Communication System, or PECS, is a program typically used in applied behavioral analysis for nonverbal communication. This communication aid is typically used in children with autism spectrum disorder, but is helpful in a variety of other developmental disorders. In this presentation, we use PECS as an intervention in a classroom that is overall nonverbal autistic children, with a few typically developing peers. The lack of communication skills among the students is leading to problem behaviors, such as grabbing, fighting, tantrums, and more. The desired outcome of the introduction and intervention of PECS will be to decrease the problem behaviors while increasing communication among peers and teachers.
Our group chose Scenario 1. This was the Ellison Preschool. The school serves 200 children between ages 3 and 5. It holds 150 students in special education and 50 students in general education. There are 20 classrooms. Each classroom contains 1 teacher, 2 teaching aides, and parent volunteers. Also employed at the school are 2 speech therapists, 1 occupational therapist, 1 physical therapist, and 1 BCBA. Why there is a need for change. Currently, at Ellison Preschool, there are 50 students who receive speech therapy. Half of these students are nonverbal. Only 5 of these students currently use a PECS system. The remaining nonverbal students point and grunt to communicate. Every teacher has reported difficulty with student behaviors at playtime. At least 2 student behaviors occur every single day. Students typically fight over toys, throwing tantrums, and crying. This occurs when students take items without asking, due to the lack of communication between students. By introducing a mode of communication, it could decrease the amount of problem behaviors in the classroom.
The reason that we chose the Picture Exchange Communication System is because it is empirically supported in the literature. PECS is a pictorial system that allows students to exchange pictures to communicate their needs. So they can give a card with a picture on it and receive whatever they want instead of needing to verbally indicate or physically gesture. PECS is a tool that we can use to gradually teach skills ranging from exchanging just a single picture to creating complex sentences. The literature also indicates that students who are introduced to a PECS system show overall progress in communication, and it's still effective when there are differences in the students that are using PECS. So some students that maybe have extreme aggression or are more nonverbal than others, for example, can still effectively communicate with this system. PECS is also as effective as when using it with verbal children and nonverbal students. Research examined that there was increased communication between nonverbal and verbal children during all social interactions when a PECS was introduced into a classroom. And while PECS does seem to be very supportive and effective, more studies are needed in order to see if PECS generalizes communication to different settings, including home, clinics, and school.
Here's a quick tutorial on the implementation of the Picture Exchange Communication System, also known as PECS. This is a communication device that is typically used by those with communication and social deficits.
There are 6 different phases to PECS. Phase 1 is how to communicate. Phase 2 is distance and persistence. Phase 3 is picture discrimination. Phase 4 is sentence structure. Phase 5 is answering questions. And Phase 6 is commenting.
To implement PECS, you would start with Phase 1, as Chelsea mentioned, and continue on down the prompt hierarchy until the child can use the PECS system independently. This would go from full physical to independent.
We are going to do a short demonstration on how to implement Phase 1 of PECS independently. I will be tracking data on this tracking sheet, as you will see in slide 8.
Pig!
Introducing a mode of communication that all students can understand regardless of verbal abilities will allow students to talk to each other instead of leading to fighting, throwing a tantrum, or crying due to not communicating with one another. Students will be able to exchange a picture to another peer, letting the peer know that they would like the item instead of throwing a tantrum or taking the toy away. We use the PECS Phase 1 data collection sheet to begin. When gathering data, it is collected for the number of times manding with PECS occurred and the prompt level for each part of the Phase 1 during an observation period. Percentages will be calculated by determining how many independent mans divided by how many total mans per day. There are 6 different phases to the PECS system. Phase 1 is how to communicate. The child will learn to exchange single pictures for items or activities that they want. Phase 2 is distance and persistence. Still using single pictures, the child will learn to generalize this new skill by using it in different places with different people and across distances. Phase 3 is picture discrimination. The child learns to select from 2 or more pictures to ask for their favorite things. Phase 4 is sentence structure. The child will learn to construct simple sentences such as "I want" followed by a picture of the item being requested. Phase 5 is answering questions. The child will learn to use PECS to answer the questions such as "What do you want?" Phase 6 is commenting. The child is taught to comment in responses to questions such as "What do you see?" or "What is it?" or "What do you hear?"
When we implement PECS in the school, we were aiming to make this a Tier 2 intervention. We decided a Tier 2 intervention for a couple reasons. Some classrooms might have more intensive needs than others, so the use of PECS can be individualized to each class's needs. We would have a teacher or an aide meet with small groups of children so that they can have a more individualized system on how to learn how to use PECS as well. Also, because Ellison already has 5 students who are using the PECS system, there is already a general knowledge of PECS by some of the faculty, so it wouldn't be hard for some of the teachers to learn if they can refer back to those teachers or aides. And we would implement PECS first by having the ABA clinic staff train all the teachers and teaching aides on how to use PECS. Once the teachers have a general knowledge that they would be correctly implementing PECS or teaching it to their children, the teachers would then meet with small groups of students in their classrooms of about 3 to 5 students, start teaching them the meaning of the pictures, how to exchange them with each other, and so forth. After the students have displayed that they understand how the system works, we would implement some learning criteria mastery levels. The first one, we would use physical prompts. So physically touching the children's hands, telling them that they would exchange this picture. And so once 90% mastery is met over 3 days, then we would then go to the next level. Physical or partial physical prompts is next. And again, this would be similar to the first level, but we wouldn't be as physically prompting. And after 90% mastery over 3 days, we would go to the next level, which is gestural and independent. So these students are more comfortable and they don't need to rely on the adults to help them as much. And again, we would want to see 90% mastery over 5 days. And teachers, the aides, and parent volunteers that are in the school can help ensure that students are exchanging correctly. If they see students that are doing it incorrectly, they can immediately correct and show them the proper way to communicate using the PEC system.
So for the school-wide implementation installation phase, we need to know how we're going to get all of these materials we need for the picture exchange communication system programs. So there is no additional funds will be needed to create the picture exchange communication system, since we just need laminator, dry film, photoresist sheets, printer, ink, computer, paper, and all of these going to be available in the school library and provided by the school. It's gonna be there's enough materials, like the picture exchange communication system posts will be available for each group during the teaching procedure. So the policy in the school already support the picture exchange communication system, since there are few students who are using it currently, but the policies needs to be changed and developed to know when the students will meet criteria to fade the prompt. As we said, that students need to get 90% and above for 3 consecutive days for each prompt phase in order to fade the prompt. And also the policies need to be developed on how data will be taken and measured. As we said, we're going to use frequency. Okay, so for the operational procedures, they're going to be development, implementation, and analysis. Development will be conducted of the ABA staff, who will post video explaining how to use the picture exchange communication system with the students during the staff meeting. And the ABA staff will demonstrate a role play the program with one of the school staff during the meeting to get a better idea how to use the program with the students. The video is going to be available as well on the school's website, so everyone can get access to it anytime. Implementation will be conducted of teaching the students in small group how to exchange the pictures with each other, and the ABA staff will explain the picture exchange communication system program to the students. Analysis will be conducted by the ABA staff to look at the effectiveness of the picture exchange communication system program and make data-based decision on when the student will meet criteria to fade the prompt. Parent meeting and training will be conducted by the ABA staff. During the training, prompting procedure and when to fade the prompt until the child can use picture exchange communication system independently going to be addressed. The importance of practicing and using picture exchange communication system across different settings and people for generalization will be addressed as well during the meeting. And finally, it's very important to evaluate the scale of the student. Prompts need to be faded at the proper time. This allows the child to maintain the scale and not become prompt dependent.